goes into developing your character. Now, as for me, it sounded like Tanya's character was black. And it sounded like Amanda, your character kind of sounded like she might have been mixed. It kind of sounded like she might have been mixed with, like, black and white. You know, I'm not prejudiced anything. I love everybody. The wrong way, because my children are Hispanic, so don't take it the wrong way. But I'm saying, though, just based off on how your character was running like that, it sounded like she could be mixed with black and white, because really, now you find a lot of girls hanging out in the malls, but back in the 80s and the 90s, you hardly got girls hanging in the malls or any places like that, unless it was like, you know, it was a special trip or something. You didn't see many black girls hanging in the mall every day or sneaking out of school to go to a mall. So I would automatically assume that your character is mixed. Now, had you thought about what color your character was? Well, we didn't develop your character. So that's part of developing the character. Okay. And the next thing is appearance. Tanya gave great description in appearance for her character. She gave really great description. I didn't even write it down, but it was really good. And even the residents, Tanya gave a good description of the residents. Now, on my story, now listen now, don't be afraid to get on yourself, to judge yourself. On my story, I feel like I could have spent, you know, a little more time developing the beginning of that part, that first scene, you know, where they're in there just talking and she's talking about going to school, finding her stuff. I could have did a little better on that part. So I think when I go back and revise, I am going to rewrite that part. Matter of fact, I know I could have done better on that because my description was not even there. I had to actually just tell y'all, hey, they're in the house. They're getting ready to go to school. Well, she getting ready to go to cheerleading practice, but I had not wrote that part down. So I just had to tell y'all so you would know where I was going. So that could hurt a good story right there, what I just did. It could hurt a good story by not being descriptive enough where the reader can flow along with you. And it's okay to find your mistakes, y'all, and point them out and correct them. Okay, the next thing is to develop a good character, you need to know what type of religion are we dealing with here. Are we dealing with religion at all? My character, she was a believer of God. She believed in his angels. The girl, Alexandria, she believed in the angels. And where the mother, right, she believed in God, but she didn't too much believe in angels. She was kind of wishy-washy on that up until Alexandria became an angel. Then she became a believer. So, you know, religion is important whenever you're writing stories, if you have religion wrote in it. Also, developing good character, whether they're single or married. I think Tanya had good character right there whenever she wrote about the mother and the father. That was good character concerning, you know, their relationship. And, excuse me, y'all, and the temperament. The temperament meaning how angry, that father was still angry after he came out of prison. And he was still angry. So can y'all think of any different ways that a good character can be developed?
I think mine, what I didn't do, put enough details in mine. I think that's where I messed up at.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Tanya, you got anything to say on that?
Actually, I don't.
Okay. Imagining all these details will help you get to know your character. When you just start, like when I started writing, like I said, I had to get in that character to write that out the way I was feeling that flow in my head. And I was crying when my daughter came in here because I was getting familiar with, you know, what would a person be feeling like if you just got told that your daughter is going to die and you don't get no warning or anything. What's your expression? How would you feel if you were told that? How would you feel if you was the one that had to wake up in the middle of the night scared because you hear somebody downstairs fighting, trying to kill your mother? What would your expression be? Because you're not prepared. She knew Tanya's character knew something was going to happen, but yet she wasn't really prepared for it to actually happen. It's one thing to have it in your head and another thing for it to really take place in reality. So, see, having all that detail can make good for your short story. Appearance. The appearance gives your reader a visual understanding of the character. You can write this down, y'all. This is what I'm finna say now. Because these are the most important things that you need to remember when it comes down to writing in these characters and stuff. The first thing is appearance. Give your reader a visual understanding of the character. The next thing is action. Show the reader what kind of person your character is by describing actions rather than simply listing adjectives. Describe them. Go into detail. What that look like? How that feel? Go into details. The next thing is speech. Develop the character as a person. Don't merely have your character announce important plot details. You know, you got to develop that character. How is that character really speaking in your head? In my book that I'm working on, well, I've been working on for a long time, Remember Me. You know what? The characters, they don't talk like we talk. Them characters were Southerners from back in the early 1800s. So they had shown up the expressions like, what you doing there, boy? You know, something like that, you know. I had to get into that character. And the little boy that was in that book, he was a little black boy, and he was just scared to death, Lord. He didn't see this man home, and he was scared to death. So his character was like, yes, sir. No, ma'am. You know, he had that scared talk in him. But, yeah, he would talk, but you could tell he was scared by how he was bringing it out. The next thing is thought. Bring the reader into your character's mind to show them your character's unexpressed memories, fears, and hopes. Again, I go back to Tanya's story because, you know, that's what hers was based on, that fear. She showed us that girl had that fear in her, but she overcame the fear. When it really came down to it, she overcame it by charging into her daddy. She overcame it when it mattered the most. Alexandria's mother, she had more fear than Alexandria did. Alexandria, she was ready to go. She already knew. She had been with the angels since she was 3 years old. So she was prepared, and she was ready to get her wings. She wasn't trying to stay back here. She was letting you know off the gate, I'm not scared. I'm prepared. Okay? So those are some things that you need to remember when it comes down to writing short stories. That visualization is very important to be able to have that visualization. Y'all, I can barely pronounce that. But I got it out. Okay. And this here, choose a point of view. Point of view is the narration of the story from the perspective of first, second, and third person. As a writer, you need to determine who is going to tell the story and how much information is available for the narrator to reveal in the short story. The narrator can be directly involved in the action, subjectively, or the narrator might only report the action objectively. Now, my story was good for that because you see, she was the mother was actually talking as in the pretense, and she was in the past tense. She's telling the story. Present. Sorry, y'all. She's telling the story in the present, and she's also had to go back to the past in order to tell you what happened to her daughter and how she came up with this foundation and ended up with them twins. So she's talking in two different positions, the first and the third. Okay, so you can write this down. The first person, the story is told from the view of I. The narrator is either the protagonist, main character, and directly affected by unfolding events, or the narrator is a secondary character telling the story revolving around the protagonist. All right. The second person is the story is told directly to you, with the reader as a participant in the action. And an example of that one, I want to give you an example of that one is, you laughed loudly at the antics of the clown. You clapped your hands with joy. So that person is telling the story directly to you. Okay, and the third person is the story tells what he, she, or it does. The third person narrates perspective can be limited, telling the story from one character's point of view. And where the narrator knows everything about all the characters. You know, the mother in my story, she knew about everybody. She knew about her daughter, but she didn't know the daughter was sick, but she knew of the daughters going to school. She knew all that. In your story, Amanda, I would say Blossom really didn't know everybody. Blossom didn't know the thug, did she? She didn't know the thug, so she was just, I would say she was coming from actually, I think Blossom was coming from the first one as the subject at hand. She was the original person with the original point of view. She's the one telling it. That's what it sounded like Blossom was coming from.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so knowing all that will help y'all a whole lot when it comes down to writing. And it's only 10:01. Does anyone have any comments or questions so far? Questions or comments so far? So now that you know all of this, now you should be able to go back to your story and be able to revise it into even greater depths than what you already have. Because all of these stories, these are just like the first round of them. And usually when a person is writing, it takes editing, revising, and all that. So for y'all's homework, I want you to go back and revise your stories. Amanda finished writing yours, and then you got to revise it, so you got 2 parts of that. So you,
Madison wrote a story. She said, "Can she read it?"
Yes. Come on, Madison, come through, baby girl.
Here, Madison.
Come through.
I don't know if she's gonna read it or not. She done jetted at the hall. But she wrote one. It's called A Whore to a Lover.
Tell her come on and read it. That's actually good because, see, she's in drama classes.
No, you read it. Come on, Matt. Come on. No. Come on. She wants you to read it for real. Read it yourself. Here. It's a good story. Do you read it? No, you wrote it. You read it. Okay, ma'am. It's okay. She called A Whore to a Lover. Some prostitute use a man for money, and someone finds out a report to send her to the bars. She is being sent to court, but was proven insane by a lawyer. The lawyer is engaged with a woman who is a bride. Later on in the month, the prostitute has been more cleaner and has visited church often. God has forgiven her for her sins. The lawyer's fine is cheating on him while their wedding ceremony is happening. The lawyer breaks off